This is my E36 M3 build, and it's a sedan chassis. I'm going to walk you guys through all the harness mount points that I did for my recently installed 6-point harness and 4-point harness on the passenger side. Before I did the install, I was trying to do a lot of research to see how people installed the harnesses into the E36. I didn't really like any of the videos. They weren't really good at explaining all the points that they used to mount everything, how they did it, what they did, where they got the parts from. So I'm going to walk you guys through all that stuff of what parts I used, where I got them from, where I mounted them on the vehicle, which ones I had to drill through the chassis, and which ones that I was able to actually reuse on the car and not have to do that. Let me walk you guys through everything so that you know what to do if you're looking to install a 6-point or 4-point harness in your E36. This is for the sedan, but I think it will carry over for the coupe as well to give you guys a good idea. Before I show you guys all the footage that I took while I was installing it, why don't I just show you a quick setup that I have right now. So this is the seat and the pink harnesses that I have. They're STR. I really like Adam LZ's pink harnesses that he has in his car. Unfortunately, I wasn't willing to pay the price for those ones, so I found these ones. They are very good. I did get this new Seatbelt racing seat. That's why I got the harnesses, the harness bar, and that's why I needed to mount the harness strap. So you'll see one of them there. You'll see the back ones are all cut through the seat, so I'll show you guys how I got those there. And then the other one is here with the harness bars. All right, so I showed you guys the footage of how my setup currently is. Let's rewind the clock, hop into all the footage that I took while I was doing the install, show you guys what to look out for, how I did it, and what you guys can do if you're looking to do it on your own E36. Let's get into that. So before you even start this project, you got to order the right parts. These are the backing plates that I ordered. There are a few options on the market where you can get, but you need a backing plate and then you need the eye hole bolts. This is what your harness is going to clip into once you actually screw them into place. So you got to make sure you get the bolts, get some good quality bolts. I was able to get them off of eBay. They came relatively quick. I'll leave a link down below so that you guys can find them. Alright, first ones I want to talk about are the shoulder strap mounting plates. Now, if you're using a harness bar, you don't want to put your shoulder straps to the harness bar. They want them to be into the car. Now, the easiest ones are where the seat belts are. These two already have holes that are already drilled, so as long as you get like the normal metric eye bolts, they will just fit right in. I'm not sure what the thread is, but they really only sell these eye bolts in like one thread type, and it fits right in perfectly. Then the seat belts will come down. Just make sure you put your seat belts back into place, and then you screw them in, and make sure you have them facing forward. Now, the two outer shoulder strap sides, you will need to drill through the car. So this is going to be where you start drilling. You want to remove all that sound deadening there. Get a nice clean plate so that you can drill through easily and you're not working around that sound deadening. Just for me, it was pretty easy. These cars are pretty old. Just a screwdriver and a hammer, and I was able to go through. Now it's time to find where you're going to put the backing plate on the outside of the vehicle. So you want to come down here beside the fuel tank above that trailing arm. You find a spot. I used the paint and then I just kind of sprayed in there to get a circle hole so that I know where I need to punch. So kind of put it up into that place right there, right above the fuel tank, right where there's a flat spot. Right when you get in there, you'll see it's pretty easy to identify right above the trailing arm, right in that corner pocket. And then I sprayed some paint, get that circle in, and then I went up top. I did a little bit of trial and error, so I would do a soft punch, I'd go underneath the car, I'd take a look at the paint to see where it came through, and then I would adjust the punch a little bit to get in the center of that paint mark. Now, I was using a step-down drill bit like this one. It made it pretty easy, kind of just find the right size, drill through to the next level until you get it just big enough for the bolt to go through. But you really use whatever tool bits that you want to use to get the job done. Once you've drilled through, I put some Loctite on it. I also grabbed some washers to give it a little bit more surface contact area on the top. And with one hand I held it on the bottom and then just twirled it through on the top. This is what it looks like at the end. You know, just give it, tighten a bit. I gotta go on it vertical facing the front of the car. That's what it looks like bolted through. Just enough threads that it's in there securely. And then just rinse and repeat on the other side and you have all 4 shoulder straps tightened in and you're good to go. Let's move on. Okay, now let's talk about the lap belt mounting position. So for the outer lap belt, you can just use this hole right here for the bottom of the seat belt. It will just screw in, perfect. It goes right into place. You will need to trim a little bit around the plastic cover if you want to use this one, or you might be able to get away with it. I didn't end up doing this option, and I'll show you why. I went with the NRG harness bar, and when I went with this one, I ended up ordering a longer eye hole so that I could get it into the position here. In hindsight, you could use the short one in that same hole that I showed you before, and you could just use a normal bolt to put the harness bar into place. Now, since it didn't have the normal bolt and I only had the eye hole bolt, I just went and mounted it in this position anyway and just used it like that. Now in order to do that, I did have to cut down a piece of my backing plate and slide it in so I could fit into that hole right there, as it is an empty hole in the chassis, which worked out pretty much perfect for the use that I wanted to. But yeah, you can go either option. Now the inner lap belts I did kind of far back on the transmission tunnel. You can see right here. Went underneath, hit it with a punch where I found was the flattest area, and then you come through and drilled it through. Nice and simple. This part is really the only part where you need a helper. I had a friend underneath the car holding the backing plate in so I could drill into it. Maybe a little bit of glue could probably help you if you didn't have anybody and you're absolutely by yourself, but an extra set of hands is always good. Each one that I drilled through, I put some washers there to give it more surface area, and I also red Loctite them. I basically got it as tight as I could. I grabbed a punch and I just cranked it until it was as tight as I could, making it as flush as possible, and then making sure that at the end it was facing forward. You can see on the right side that it's facing towards the vehicle, so it's easy to put the lap belt latch into. And then here you can see what it looks like from underneath on either side of the drive shaft. Try to find the flattest spot possible to bring that through. Out of the way of the drive shaft, not hurt nothing. The last one is going to be the crotch mounts. Now this photo is facing towards the rear of the vehicle, so my hands are closer towards the pedals. This is kind of the best shot I had, so I do apologize for that before I put the carpets on. I was in a rush putting everything back together. In hindsight, I would say I would move them both more towards the transmission tunnel, probably about 2 inches. They're nicely spaced, but they could just be probably 2 inches closer to the inside of the vehicle. Here it is underneath. It's a little rough because I do have some body filler at the bottom because I did cut out and chop out the plates at the bottom. It could probably have gone a little tighter, but that's basically how it finished off, and they're pretty solid, pretty steady. As you can see, I probably would have liked to move it over to the right just about like 1 to 2 inches, but overall it's pretty good. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys appreciate this content. If you made it all the way to the end, please smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel for future E36 content. I'm doing new parts installs, or I'm at the track, or just new BMW content as well. Thank you guys so much. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you on the next one.